Well, another weekend and another pair of titles for Lisa Ashton, her sixth and seventh of the season, including having won the last event on the Sunday, all three weekends so far. Is she, though, the favorite to lift the title in Blackpool?
Yeah, this is a very interesting one, and there was a market. I don't think there is at the moment, but you would have Lisa Ashton and Fallon Sherrock. They would be the two front runners, wouldn't they? And they are, of course, on opposite sides of the draw. Lisa being the top seed, Fallon being the second seed. So I think the odds on them two meeting in the final would be pretty low. But you have got six other players in there that are going to have a say on that Sunday afternoon at the Winter Gardens. But looking at what they've done from the first three weekends of the year, 7 titles for Lisa, as you say, 3 titles we've seen for Fallon, and Fallon had a lot more travelling at the weekend as well. I think she put a tweet up saying that she fell asleep at the tables at the Women's Series on that Saturday because she'd played the Friday night in Amsterdam, the World Series, travelled back very early, late Friday, early Saturday to play in that doubleheader. So that was a busy weekend for her. Did come away with a title though, which is good for her in that race to get one of those World Championship spots. But as far as who's going to be the favourite, it's a tricky one. I think on the floor, you'd back Lisa, wouldn't you, considering the dominance that she's had on the Women's Series this year. But when it comes to a stage, we have seen a lot more of Fallon Sherrock on the stage this year, playing in those World Series events. We've seen Lisa play a few of the World Seniors events. She's going to be playing this weekend. But Fallon, she has been a little bit up and down on those World Series events. We've seen her turn up and beat a tour card holder, Darius Labanauskas, and then on the other hand, we've seen her go out early on a couple of them as well. So maybe a little bit inconsistent as far as the stage form. Lisa, we've not seen her get a win on stage on TV for a little while. So I think going into it, I don't think either of them, I'd say, would be a clear-cut favourite than the other. And I think we've not seen these two play on stage, play on TV for a long time. So if we were to get a final between the two, I think a lot of darts fans would want to see it. And, it would be probably one of the most talked about games going into it if we did get that final on the Sunday afternoon. But I think if I was to give the edge to one of them, I think I probably would just give the edge to Lisa Ashton. It is a very, very slight edge, and it is just based on the head-to-head in recent years. This year we've seen Lisa win 2 out of the 3 games they've had on the Women's Series. Last year she won, I think, 5 out of the 6. So, and the overall record as well is heavily weighted in Lisa Ashton's favour. So I think just going off the head-to-head, I would give the edge on this one to Lisa Ashton. But we all know Fallon Sherrock, when she goes up on that stage, she much prefers playing on the stage. That's where we've seen her throw a lot of her best darts, and that's where we've seen her make a name for herself at Ali Pali, the Grand Slam, the World Series last year in Denmark as well. So when she gets up on that stage, we know that she is capable of producing a much higher level. So I think it's a tight one. But if I was to get swayed towards one or the other, I think I would just give the slight edge to Lisa for now.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and I'm not as concerned about where Lisa's stage game might be right now. Yes, we haven't seen her on the stage in a while, but she has just a wealth of experience on the big stage, and she has to be coming into this with confidence. She's won more than half the events. She's been playing at the highest level of anyone in the field, including over Fallon Sherrock, who's been her nemesis in the women's game over the last couple of years. So Lisa Ashton's going to I think Lisa Ashton will be able to bring that game that brought her 4 world titles to Blackpool. And I think that'll do her a world of good. And it certainly won't hurt her that she had 2 years of Pro Tour experience. Yes, she didn't get that many matches on the stage. 1, because there weren't that many Euro Tours and she didn't qualify for them. And 2, because other than the World Championships, she didn't, well, I guess also the UK Open, but other than the World Championships, UK Open, she didn't qualify for the other TV events. But she knows what a PDC televised environment is like, which really only Lisa Ashton among the rest of Fallon Sherrock among the rest of the field knows what it's like to play in. Laura Turner knows what it's like to be at because she's been in commentary at all the major events, but none of the rest have played on TV at a major PDC event. And as I started out with, Lisa Ashton's going to come in with the most confidence. I think she should be the favorite. Whether the bookmakers will make her that, whether the people betting will make her, that's another question, because Fallon Sherrock is the biggest name in the game, and she has the best A game of anyone in women's darts. But she has been inconsistent this year, and we saw it at its lowest in the last couple World Series events. But that has been a long time coming. She's had a lot of performances like that on the women's series this year as well, which is why she's only won 3 events as opposed to half of them like she had each of the last couple of years. If Fallon Sherrock is able to get back that game that she was playing at the end of last year, when she made a World Series final, when she came within a couple legs of the semifinals, and who knows, maybe even further at the Grand Slam, then yes, Fallon Sherrock is the person to beat. And I wouldn't think anyone in this field would beat her, but she hasn't shown that she's playing that game this year. And a lot can change in a few weeks, but still, that is a lot that would need to change. I think Lisa Ashton's the favorite. Among the rest of the people in the field, could they win? Sure. I mean, Lorraine Winstanley has won a title this year. Aline de Graaf has made a pair of finals. Laura Turner, as you mentioned earlier, made consecutive finals this year. Rhian Griffiths made a final earlier this year. Katie Sheldon's made a final. Chloe O'Brien's the only one who hasn't made a final, but she's made a pair of semifinals and keeps going deep more often than not. But none of them have the game of the top 2. Lorraine Winstanley is probably the most likely of the rest, and she won a title in an event where the other 2 were both playing. No one else can say that. Of course, no one else in this field can say they won a title in the women's series at all. So maybe Lorraine Winstanley is the next best bet. And, she is a former world master, former world number 1. But Lisa Ashton and Fallon Sherrock are the clear cream of the crop in the women's game right now. And Lisa Ashton's coming in the better form. So, yeah, I'm going to say Lisa Ashton is, or at least should be, the favorite. And I would think that it's more likely than not, i.e. more than 50% chance that she ends up becoming the first women's world match play champion at the Winter Gardens next month.